Hello and welcome to this video. In this video, we are going to learn about Excel count functions. The Excel count functions help you quickly analyze data by counting numbers, texts, blanks, or values that meet specific conditions. They are essential for solving real-world problems like tracking the number of sales made, counting absent employees, checking missing entries, or finding how many orders meet a target. By using functions like COUNTA, COUNT, COUNTBLANK, COUNTIFs, you can easily turn raw data into meaningful insights for better decision making. Before you continue with this video, please watch my other video on date functions. The link to that is posted in the description below. Here is the agenda for today's video. We will learn the count function, the COUNTA function, COUNTBLANK, COUNTIF, and then finally COUNTIFs. Let us now move to the definition of these functions. The count function. The count function takes series of values as parameters and it counts only numeric values. It ignores text, logical values, and blanks. Similarly, the COUNTA function also takes series of values, but it counts only non-empty cells, including numbers, texts, logical values, and errors. The COUNTBLANK function counts number of cells which are empty. The COUNTIF function takes a range as a parameter and also a criteria as a second parameter. The COUNTIF function counts cells in a range that meets the provided criteria. The COUNTIFs function is similar to COUNTIF function, but it counts cells that meet multiple conditions across one or more ranges. Let's now go to the first example and implement some count functions. So here you see the data table, which has several columns. There are columns like names, department, age, salary, and so on. To the right side, you see some of the practice ideas. We will now go through each one of these practice ideas and implement the solution using the appropriate count functions. So let us start with the first practice idea, which makes use of the count function. How many numeric entries in age, salary, bonus, performance score columns? So let us implement the count function and find out the numeric entries, starting with the age column, which is column number E. So type is equal to count. Press tab and then select the series of values and then close the bracket and press enter. So there are totally 16 numeric entries in the age column. Now let us count the numeric values in salary column. So we have a salary column here. Apply the same count function. So type is equal to count, press tab and select the entire range of values. Close the bracket, press enter. So in the salary column, we have 17 numeric values. Now let us move on to the next column, which is bonus. So go to the column there. Type is equal to count. Select the range of values. Close the bracket, press enter. So there are 13 numeric values in the bonus column. Please note that the count function does not count this error value. This is supposed to be an error value. It ignores the error value and count the remaining numeric values. Moving on to the performance score. So this is that performance score. Type is equal to count and then select the range of values in that column and press enter. Again, here we have an error cell here. The error cell is ignored from the count. We'll move on to the next count function, which is COUNTA. The problem is how many non-blank cells are there in name, department, email, status, and remarks. So let us start with the name column. We have a name column here. So in this cell, type is equal to count A, tab, and then select the entire range, close the bracket. You can see there are 19 non-blank cells in this column, excluding one blank. So there are totally 20 values in the column. Excluding a blank, we have 19 cells with values. Now let us implement the same with the department column. So type is equal to count A, press tab, select the values, close the bracket, press enter. Again, here you have 19 values under the department columns. Now let's apply the same thing on the email column. So here we have the email column, type is equal to count A, press tab, select all the values. Now you should expect these to be less than 19 because we have two blank values. So we should get 18 as the count. And then finally we have status and remarks. So let us implement that for the status column. Go to status column here, count A, select the entire column values, close the bracket and press enter. Here also we have 19 values. And then finally, let us count the number of non-blank cells in the remarks column. So type is equal to count A and then select the values, close the bracket. We have 18 values here. Since we have two blanks, so excluding the two blanks, we have totally 18 non-blank cells. Let us now move to the next function, COUNTBLANK. So this function, we are going to count the number of blanks in the columns. We'll start with the age. So go to the age column here and then count the number of blanks here. So type is equal to count blank and then select the range of values, close the bracket, enter. We have 4 blank cells here, which are 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's move on to the other column, salary column. Here we have the salary column. Go to the cell here, count blank, press tab, select the range of values, and then enter. We have 3 blanks here. Next, we'll move on to the bonus. Here we have bonus column. Type is equal to count blank, and then select the range of values and press enter. 6 values. Let us now move on to the COUNTIF function. So the problem here is to count the number of employees in the department IT. So let us start with the department column. So here we'll use COUNTIF function. And the COUNTIF function takes a range of values, and the range of value is this, followed by the criteria. Here the criteria is the value should be is equal to IT. So type IT within double quotes and press enter. So there are 6 cells or 6 values which contain the value IT. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Likewise, let us count the status where the value of status is active. So here we have the status column. So type is equal to COUNTIF and then select all the values here. And I'm interested only in the value which is active. So type is equal to active within brackets, then press enter. So we have 12 values which are active. So repeat the same thing for the remaining problems as well. We will now move to the COUNTIFS function. Let's get started with the first problem. Count department is equal to HR and status is equal to active. So go to the practice area, cell F29 and type COUNTIFS. The first criteria range would be our department column. So select the department column range. And the first criteria is that it should be equal to HR. Followed by that is the second criteria range, which is the status column. So select the entire status column. And the second criteria would be that it should be active. Press enter. So we have 4 rows qualifying the criteria. Now let's move to the second problem. We are going to count the number of rows where department is equal to IT and bonus is greater than 5,000. So again, apply COUNTIFS function. Select the department column. The first criteria is that it should be equal to IT. The second criteria range is the bonus column. And the second criteria is that it should be greater than 5,000. Press enter. So we have 3 rows qualifying the criteria. And now let's move on to the third problem. So in the third problem, we will count the rows where age is greater than or equal to 30 and age is less than or equal to 40. So again, apply COUNTIFS function. Select the age column. Now select the first criteria. In this case, the age should be greater than or equal to 30. So type greater than or equal to 30. Next, select the criteria range to. The criteria range to is again the age column. So select the age column again. And the criteria is now less than or equal to 40. So press enter. So we have 9 records qualifying this criteria. You can repeat the same process for the rest of the problems. I will skip these for now and move on to the second example. As you can see, I have a matrix here, which is the seminar seat bookings. And the seminar seat bookings matrix contains values like F, M, numbers, and blanks. The problem here is to count numbers in the matrix, count how many are booked, count how many are pending, that means how many are blank, how many are male, and how many are female. So let's get started with counting the numbers. So to count the numbers, as usual, we would apply count function. So type is equal to count, and then select the entire matrix range here and press enter. So we have 10 values which match this criteria. That means we have 10 numbers in the entire matrix. Next, we will count how many are booked. That means we are counting how many cells in the entire matrix range are non-blank. So to count the non-blank values, we will use COUNTA function. So type is equal to count A and select the entire matrix. Close the bracket and press enter. So overall, we have 71 cells which are filled and non-blank. Next, we will count how many are blank. That means how many are pending. So type count blank and then select the entire range. Close the bracket, press enter. So we have 9 blank cells here. Next, we would count how many cells are booked by the male participant. To count that, we will use COUNTIF function. Now select the entire range again, and then the criteria in this case would be M. So we have 22 male participants. Now we will count female participants. Again, type COUNTIF function. Select the entire matrix range. And then the second parameter to that is the criteria. In this case, criteria would be F and close the bracket. So we have 39 female participants. We will now move on to the second problem. On the right side, you can see I have a table with list of employee names and their date of join. So the problem to solve here is we will count the number of employees within the specific criteria. That means we have to count the number of employees whose start date would be greater than 15 Jan 2021, and then start date would be less than 15 June 2024. So let us now apply the COUNTIFS function. Since we have multiple criteria, we would be using the COUNTIFS function. So here type COUNTIFS function and select the criteria range 1. The criteria range is the date of join value. So the date of join value should be greater than or equal to the first cell, which is the from date. This is the from date. So as you can see that I'm using the ampersand operator to concatenate the condition operator with the cell value. The second criteria range would be the same column, date of join. And the second criteria is that it should be less than or equal to the second date, which is the to date. So close the bracket and press enter. As you can see, we have 9 employees who have joined the company within this given date range.